Welcome to Dunder Data Python Challenge number 2. These are daily exercises to challenge your Python skills. You can take all of the challenges at python.dunderdata.com. So in this exercise, you're given any number of lists of integers, and your goal is to return the list with the largest total. Let's go ahead and write our code in the body of the function. So our function accepts any number of lists of integers and assigns them to the variable name lists. So list will end up being a tuple of lists of integers. So if you're unfamiliar with this star notation in front of a variable name, I will explain that now. So normally variable names don't have this star, and each variable name is assigned a single argument. Well, whenever you put a star in front of a variable name like this, it allows you to assign any number of positional arguments to a single variable name as a tuple. Take a look below to see some specific examples. So when we execute this line of code right here, the function is passed two arguments, both of which are lists, and the variable name lists are assigned each of these lists as a tuple. So list is a two-item tuple equal to both of the arguments. Similarly, in this example, three arguments are passed to our function, and those three arguments are assigned as a tuple to our variable name lists. Even if you have one argument that you're passing to the function, it will be assigned to list as a one-item tuple, and even zero arguments, there will be a zero-item tuple created and be assigned to lists. Now that we understand star notation, let's go ahead and write our code. I'm going to present two solutions, one naive one and then another that is a little bit more clever. Let's begin with a naive solution, which will iterate through each one of these lists, take the sum of that list as the total, and then if that total is larger than any of the previous totals, we'll keep that list and that total saved, and then return whichever list has the largest total at the end of the iteration. Let's delete the raise not implemented error and begin our code here. Before we start iterating, we won't have a maximum total or a list that produces the maximum to compare it against. So we'll create two variables. One will be the max total. That'll just simply be the total of the first list. So we'll just say the first list, since it's the first one we encounter, that'll be the one that has the maximum total. And we'll save this list as the max list like this. So now we'll iterate through each one of the other lists. We'll create a new variable called current list, and we'll iterate through the rest of them. We will use slice notation here. We don't have to look at the first one again anymore. We'll just slice from the second all the way to the end. And then inside the for loop, the first thing that we'll check is we'll get the total of the current list like this. Now, if this current total is greater than the max total, then we will reassign max total to be the current total like that. We'll also reassign the max list to be the current list like this. So that should do it inside of the for loop. And then we just need to make sure we return the maximum list at the end. In this exercise, we don't care about the max total. We're just using that to see which list produces that maximum. And so this code should do it. So let's execute this cell like that. Now, here is a cell that will allow you to use your function with some sample data. So here we have two lists that are passed into our function, 1, 5, which has a sum of 6, and then 9, 10, and -20, which has a sum of -1. So 1, 5 should be the one that it outputs, which is correct. Now we can keep adding new lists over here to see how it performs. So we can add it one that is certainly greater. So that's good. And then we can add maybe another one that is going to be less, and that it should still choose this one as the greatest. So it looks like it's working here. So that's good. Here is a way to use an assert statement. This is what we'll be used during the grading process to determine whether or not you've got it right. It will actually use different inputs. So just because you get this one correct doesn't mean that your solution is going to be marked as correct. But this is just one simple test, and executing this should yield nothing. If you do get an error, that means there's something wrong with your code. So that is the naive solution. I'll show you the clever solution in the next video. If you like this challenge and would like to learn more, come check out my books and courses at dunderdata.com. I have a complete and comprehensive path for mastering both Python and Pandas. Here's a few of my courses over here: Exercise Python, Master Data Analysis with Python, and Build an Interactive Data Analytics Dashboard with Python.